Hey guys, alright, I'm gonna do a video today. I've been meaning to branch out and stop making response videos to the same darn person every single time. So I'm picking Footsoldier, and then later on today I'm going to do a video with Earthling Ed and the Brown student. This one is kind of just going to be a little short one, and a lot of it is based off of environmental and food claims, which I know absolutely nothing about. So really, my analysis is only within the critical thinking aspects of it. So I'm going to be looking at the way that Footsoldier responds to certain claims that this person makes and show why he got it wrong. Not necessarily that his empirical claims are wrong, because I have no ability to prove that whatsoever. So here we go.
And they match it against meat products. They don't take into account that the amount of calories to make you feel satiated, and the calories that you need to sustain, a healthy caloric intake. You're not going to get that from the broccolis, or the spinach.
So I'm going to be charitable and...
Okay, so now the first thing to take note here is that this person is making a claim about the amount of calories you get from meat versus the amount of calories you get from plants, such as broccoli. Now, we're going to take a look at Footsoldier's response.
Still man what he's saying to something coherent. So what he's basically trying to get at is that per calorie, broccoli has more nutrition than beef, but broccoli is not...
See, that's kind of where Footsoldier went wrong on this one. That wasn't his argument. His argument was that pretty much per either weight or volume that you get more calories out of meat than out of plants. Unfortunately, the rest of this video for Footsoldier is refuting a claim that was a straw man. That doesn't mean it didn't have interesting information in it, because it certainly did. But I don't think he read the intentions of his opponent correctly and ended up trying to refute an incorrect argument. It was merely just about, you are more satiated from meat because it's very calorically dense. That's all that claim was. And I think that claim is true. I don't know what the most calorically dense vegan alternative is. Probably something within grains or something. And then you'd have to start doing nutrient comparisons there and all sorts of things. But let's not worry about the empirical claim. I just wanted to point out that Footsoldier didn't read that argument correctly. So the next one is going to be here.
They're not too bad. If you think eating a factory-made, store-bought vegan diet shipped halfway across the world to something like Alaska or Scandinavia or Iceland or some weird-ass place in the north of Canada, those sort of things, rather than the food that you can get from your local area, if you think that is better for the environment, I would ask that you probably look into how everything works.
So let's look at what the guy's claim is, because this is going to be very important for the way Footsoldier starts attacking it. So I'm going to just up the font here. Is that if you think that we're going to say global plant foods shipped across the world are better than local meats, you should look it up, or whatever he said. He's basically saying this is false, right? Let's just change it, because that's his main point. And we're going to not just say better, because better is vague. We're going to say better for the environment. Alright, let's be a little more specific. So he's making the claim that if you think this, then you are wrong, right? Footsoldier's response, we're going to look at this.
This is the exact type of ironic, embarrassing Dunning-Kruger ignorance which we need to eradicate from our movement. So he's saying, although you can get local root vegetables, it's better to have local animal products than it is to ship in vegan foods from far away. So not only
So far, that sounds right.
is that factually incorrect in itself, it's also a fallacy.
So now, Foot Soldier has 2 points. 1, factually incorrect. 2, fallacy.
So it's wrong on 2 levels. So firstly, this study here tells us that plant foods shipped in are actually better for the environment and have lower emissions than local animal foods. And second,
Alright, so here Foot Soldier is now setting up reasons to believe number 1. Right? He's got studies to show number 1 is correct. Now again, I'm not going to take a side on the empirical thing. I would read it. Maybe he's correct. I don't really know. It doesn't seem intuitive to me, but that doesn't mean that would be a wrong statement. What I'm interested in is where he starts talking about the fallacy.
you're committing a false equivalency fallacy. Why is it so trending in the carnivore community and the anti-vegan community to commit a false equivalency fallacy to justify your ethics or to justify the environmental impacts of your food choices? You have to use a fallacy to disguise the fact that your food choices and ethics are horrendous. And it's not even a vaguely compelling false equivalency fallacy. Essentially what you've said is, although you can buy local root vegetables and local grains and local plant foods, local to you, organic, high quality produced, no, although you can do that, no, if you're vegan, it means that you have to ship avocados from Mexico to Sweden.
So what Vegan Foot Soldier has done is he's taken this statement and said that it implies that if you have local plant foods, you have to ship from far away, right? This statement does not necessarily lead to this belief, right? So the other guy that he's responding to is trying to make this argument. Foot Soldier is saying, well, if you're trying to make this argument, then you are also making this argument. That's false. This person absolutely does not have to be saying that this is the case. That's why, in general, this is just incorrect. It is not a false equivalence because these beliefs do not have to stem from these beliefs. These are independent. So this person could just be responding to people, only to people who believe this, right? And he's saying that this is false, right? Or he's saying that, you know, I'm noticing that people are holding this belief, but they shouldn't be. Vegan Foot Soldier's first point could say, well, actually they should, right? Here's a study to show why this belief would actually be fine. But when he starts calling it a false equivalency, what he's doing is ending up strawmanning the person's argument by saying that if you believe this, then you also believe this. But that's not the case. So I think that's an error within Foot Soldier's reasoning, and I think he ended up strawmanning the person again. It's not that anything that Foot Soldier ends up saying is incorrect, right? Like, maybe you can make the argument that local plants are better than local meat, right, for the environments. But the person's only speaking to people making this connection, right? And this has nothing to do with the person's argument. This has nothing to do with the person's argument, right? This is the last one. This is just going to be a small little nitpick, especially as somebody who doesn't really know the empirical claims, but as somebody who is a very skeptical person in general and who looks for holes in arguments, this is something that I would notice if I was skeptical and watching a video like this.
Or if you eat carrot, let's select, 1 medium carrot is going to give you 340% of your RDA of vitamin A. And you might say, okay, well, that's beta-carotene, so it's going to be a low conversion rate. Yeah, okay, well, even if you get a third, then you're going to get all of your vitamin A for the day.
So the problem here is that he says, even if you get only a third. Is it only a third? What if it's 1/100th? What if it's 1/1000th? As somebody who doesn't know, this is something you want to tell me in order to show that like the carrot is sufficient or not. You're saying that it's less soluble, so you can get more conversion out of meat than you can in vegetables. So I understand that general point you're making, but you're not telling me by how much. And given that I'm ignorant, that is a whole scale of possibilities. And the way that you phrased it, it sounds like you didn't really know either. So that leaves me thinking that you might not know what you're talking about. So these are the sorts of things you'd want to tighten up in order to make a strong argument. That's all that my video is going to be, is just sort of these ways that I critically look at arguments when I'm evaluating them, and just showing a few pitfalls in the way that this video was presented. I'm going to do another video later on today on the Earthling Ed and the Brown student, and I think that one will be a little more comprehensive, longer, and pretty fun. So I'll see you guys later.